Everyone is watching the charts. Everyone is watching the price. But while the crowd stares at the flickering red and green candles, the real money is looking elsewhere. They aren't watching the price. They are watching the infrastructure. While retail traders debate the next move on a 15-minute chart, institutions are building massive pipelines that will carry the world's value. And today, I'm going to show you something that most people are completely missing. XRP isn't being marketed like a meme coin or a flashy new startup. It's being installed. It's being woven into the very fabric of the global financial system. And that is a very different game. You'll understand why this quiet phase, the phase that everyone ignores, is actually the most dangerous phase to overlook. Because when the noise stops, the real work begins. This is where the foundation of the future is built. Retail thinks in weeks. They want the quick win, the overnight pump. But institutions, they think in decades. They are building for the next century of global finance. Retail reacts to headlines. Institutions move long before the headlines are ever written. When you see volume increasing without any mainstream hype, that's not TikTok traders. That's positioning. That is large capital quietly finding its place in the system. Large capital doesn't chase pumps. It accumulates in low emotion environments. Large players don't want the noise. They want the liquidity. They want to enter when no one is looking, building their positions brick by brick while the sentiment is low and the emotion is gone. That's what makes this phase so interesting. Because nothing looks explosive on the surface. But structurally, movement is happening underneath. The gears are turning, the connections are being made, and the foundation is being set for something much larger than a price spike. Let's zoom out for a moment. If you're a bank or a multinational enterprise, what do you actually care about? You don't care about the latest trend or the social media buzz. You care about efficiency and survival. You care about speed. You care about liquidity. You care about regulatory survivability. And you care about interoperability. You don't care about memes. You care about settlement efficiency. And that is where the conversation really begins. The XRP Ledger wasn't designed to be a playground for speculators. It was built for rapid settlement and cross-border liquidity. That's not a narrative. That is the core design architecture of the system. It was built for the banks. Every financial revolution has two phases. Phase one is speculation, where the noise is loudest. Phase two is integration, where the value is actually created. Most crypto investors are addicted to phase one, but the real wealth is built in phase two. This is when infrastructure quietly integrates into existing systems. There are no fireworks, no parade, just back-end adoption that compounds over time. This is where partnerships don't trend on social media, but they reshape the entire system. So remember, the quiet build is the foundation of the future empire. Let's dive deeper into the architecture of settlement and why the global shift is already well underway. This is the structural reality that underpins everything. The quiet phase isn't just about waiting, it's about preparation. The world is changing and the infrastructure is being laid right now. The shift is already well underway. Now we need to talk about the fuel that will drive this entire system forward: regulatory clarity and institutional scale. This is where the foundation we discussed meets the reality of the global market. Institutions will not deploy billions into uncertainty. They are not gamblers, they are risk managers. They wait, they pressure test, and they model every possible scenario. They need to know the rules of the road before they start the engine. Once regulatory pathways begin stabilizing, capital unlocks. And when capital unlocks at institutional scale, it doesn't move in millions, it moves in billions. That is the difference between retail excitement and sovereign level positioning. But don't make the mistake of looking only at the United States. The shift is global. The Middle East is accelerating blockchain adoption at a staggering pace. Asia continues its expansion of digital settlement corridors. The world isn't waiting. Emerging markets want faster, cheaper liquidity corridors. They are tired of the old system's friction. This isn't about one country. This is about a global shift in how value moves across borders. Settlement is a multi-trillion-dollar friction point. If that friction reduces, the infrastructure powering it wins. It's as simple as that. And in this new world, the bridge that is already built and tested is the one that will be used. That bridge is the XRP Ledger. Now add another layer to this: tokenization. Real estate, debt instruments, commodities. When assets move on-chain, liquidity increases, transparency increases, and settlement accelerates. We are talking about trillions in value coming to the ledger. If tokenization scales globally, settlement layers become critical. And XRP was built for settlement, not speculation. Settlement. That is the core utility that everything else is built upon. It's the foundation of the new economy. Here's the psychological part that most people miss. The biggest financial expansions in history don't start loud. They start boring, they start ignored, they often start mocked, until suddenly they aren't. If institutions are laying the track right now, the train doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to trend on social media. It just arrives. And by the time most people hear the whistle, it's already at the station. This is the moment where theory meets reality. The scale of what's coming is hard to fathom when you're looking at daily candles. But when you look at the infrastructure, it's undeniable. The momentum is building, and the structural change is irreversible. Now let's look at the final vision. We've talked about the mindset and the architecture. We've seen how the plumbing of global finance is being replaced while the world is distracted. Now we have to ask the most important question of all. What kind of cycle are we actually in? Are we in a hype cycle, driven by social media trends, retail excitement, and the search for the next moonshot? Or are we in a system cycle? This distinction is everything, because hype cycles build bubbles, beautiful, fragile, and temporary. But system cycles build empires. They change the fundamental laws of how the world works forever. Think back to the creation of the current financial system. The winners weren't those who speculated on the price of banking stocks. They were the ones who built the underlying rails, the ones who made it possible for capital to move across oceans. Today, those rails are rusting. They are slow, expensive, and exclusive. XRP isn't just another asset. It is the blueprint for the new rails. If you look at the history of finance, the biggest winners weren't the ones who caught the loudest trend. They were the ones who built the underlying systems that everyone else had to use. That's the game being played with XRP right now. We are moving from a world of maybe to a world of instant. And once that switch is flipped, there is no going back. This is what it means to build an empire in the digital age. It's not about land. It's about liquidity. It's about being the bridge that the entire world must cross to conduct business. While the retail crowd is looking for a 10% gain, institutions are looking for 100% control of the infrastructure. The loudest phase is rarely the most important one. The quiet phase, the one where the work is done in the background, where the partnerships are forged in private boardrooms and regulatory offices, that is the phase where the real value is secured. And right now, it is very quiet. Imagine a global digital economy that never sleeps, a system where trillions of dollars move with the same ease as an email. No intermediaries, no 3-day waiting periods, no hidden fees. This isn't science fiction, it's design architecture. The XRP Ledger was built for this exact moment. If you want serious breakdowns on XRP, AI, and the digital economy without the noise, the hype, and the constant search for engagement, this is the place. We are looking at the long-term vision, the structural shifts that will define the next decade of finance and beyond. Subscribe. Join us as we track the quiet build and the institutional takeover. Because while the rest of the world is watching the price candles, we are watching the world being reshaped in real time. This is only the beginning of the most significant transition in financial history. The vision is clear: a world where value moves as easily as information. A world where friction is a thing of the past and financial inclusion is a reality. That is the world being built right now, one line of code and one partnership at a time. The quiet phase won't last forever. The tracks are almost laid and the train is ready. But for those who pay attention, it's the most important time to be present. Thank you for watching. Stay focused, stay objective, and we'll see you in the next deep dive. The quiet phase is where the future is written. Don't blink. The system cycle is just getting started. This is the quiet build.